Welcome to the Legally on the Move Festival of Entrepreneurs mini-series, recording live here from the Birmingham NEC. We are going to be diving into some of the sharpest minds across the UK, some of the top CEOs, some of the top cutting-edge businesses for an exciting, fast-paced series. So stay tuned, get excited, and looking forward to delivering even more from the show. Welcome to the Legally Speaking podcast, Legally on the Move, recording live here from the Festival of Entrepreneurs at the Birmingham NEC. And I'm joined by name, title and organisation.
I'm Clare Moses, Head of Proposition for Barclays Eagle Labs.
You sure are. And I loved meeting you earlier because you're telling me all the great things Barclays is doing and potentially modernising the services. So you can tell us a bit more?
Absolutely. So Eagle Labs has been running for 10 years. We've got this amazing pile of stuff that we can offer to help founders connect, innovate and grow. But as of today, we present that all by a beautiful digital platform that is free, open market and free, where you can access mentors, events, you can filter by industry, by your life cycle stage, you can connect with other founders, promote your business on our B2B directory. So, very exciting.
Very exciting. So if you're, say, a law firm startup or you are a legal tech entrepreneur, what are some of the things you would say to them that they could really get value from something like this?
You could log on right away. You can Google Eagle Labs community. You can log on. You can set up your business profile, connect one-to-one with other founders. There are some member awards on there. So all those kind of services from other businesses that can help you set up and grow in the right way. You can access programs to help you grow, accelerator programs. They're all listed on here. A lot of support for female founders too. Mentoring, huge mentor database, including some legal specialists, which you may not need if you're a legal firm. But you can filter again by the specialism that you need and connect. So you've really got to connect with each other, help each other grow.
Absolutely. Very, very exciting. Love what you're doing. Why did you decide to do it in the first place?
Well, we had organically grown a big pile of amazing stuff, but it was quite hard to navigate. So the point here is if we can personalise it for you, I feel like this is your sort of personalised proposition for whoever you are. Obviously for Barclays, because people are always suspicious of why we do it.
Yeah.
But we want to help the UK SME ecosystem grow because that ultimately does benefit us. Obviously, if someone chooses to bang with us in the process of this, then we won't say no. But yeah, it was about organising our stack of support in the right way.
Yeah. Always choose Barclays, no other banks available.
I've said it better myself.
Well, yeah, I can say it, you can't. In terms of more generally, though, at the event, we're good friends here with Alex Chisnall, who's one of the co-founders of Festival Entrepreneurs. Obviously, Barclays are sponsoring the event as well. Tell us about how your experience has been so far at the Festival Entrepreneurs.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Really high energy, lot going on. It's really nice array of stands. And we've just had a female founder session on the main stage, which was really insightful. So, yeah, good. I mean, a lot of entrepreneurs are embarking on this world on their own.
Yep.
And I think, to help navigate through that difficult journey, it's just nice to know you're part of a bigger community and it's brought together today.
Yeah, and it's great that such huge brands like Barclays are coming to events like this, particularly those businesses who are trying to kind of get to that next stage and scale up. It's amazing. Okay, so if people want to get in touch with you or learn more about the platform, where do they need to go?
Just Google Barclays Eagle Labs community.
Simple as that. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. And from all of us here recording live at the Legally Speaking podcast at Festival Entrepreneurs, over and out.
The discussion for today is talent that scales. We are sponsored by the world's largest legal technology company, and we have a combined mission to transform the legal experience for all. And I'm joined by a very star-studded panel today. We're going to go from left to right with some short introductions, and then I'm going to jump into, as I say, our top founders drive growth. Please get the notepads out, take notes, move to take action on what you hear today. So, to the end.
Hello everyone, thanks for coming. My name is Vicky Abraham. I am an employment lawyer by trade. I have a law firm that I founded 11 years ago, Howard Abraham. I exist now to help people fall in love with their work, as juicy as it sounds. And I do that by working with organisations to build strong, resilient, autonomous teams. And I work with Workwell. I'm building up Europe to spread the word.
Thanks very much.
Nice. Hey guys, I'm Norris Samuel. I'm CEO and founder of Connected. I've been a founder for the last 12 years, originally building in the creator economy, helping people launch podcasts and videos. Sold that company in 2018 to the gaming company, at which point I decided to invest in startups and advise startups as well, work with startups to fractional capacity, and they get obsessed to the idea of future of work will be fluid and rational, is widely connected, to be going now last 4.5 years.
Hello, thanks for coming along. My name's Simon Gardner, and I'm the co-founder of a technical recruitment company called Clare West, garage startup, if you like, just two of us. We've scaled that to 110 people, and last year we were named as the Sundays Buyers before of the year, and we're the investors and people platinum before of the year as well for 2023. So that's been quite a journey for me. 2 laptops in the garage to we looking after our team, which is why I'm here. So
Absolutely, and we're here to share lessons. My job is to hopefully moderate, let's say you lead with some things that you can go away and implement into your businesses from today onwards, because we're going to be talking about how founders move from solo operators actually from new teams to truly scale. So the first part of the panel is going to be 3 sections. The first part is all around founder to employer, some early lessons. So I'll start with you, Simon, because Barclays West, as you mentioned, has been recognised as one of the UK best employers. So what practical steps did you take early?
our story really started because of a disastrous first 14 months. We thought that, we asked my brother if we could share his garage at the bottom of the garden to have our office and things. And we were, we said, in 6 weeks we'll be out of here, we'll make loads of money, we'll be buying up, it's not just red one. And so 14 months later, we still hadn't drawn there a single pound person. You couldn't attract anyone, you couldn't identify it. He wanted to work with us, even though he both worked at large corporate pre-company, hundreds of people, many of the friends. And so it was born out of frustration. So the first practical step for made a decision after that 14 months he wrote the goal down, high in the sky as it sounded, to become a domestic block. And we were chatting to my dad at the time, and he said, you want to attract, because talent, if we want to attract the best experienced people, the most young trigger graduates, you need to become an attractive place to work. And it was quite a simple line bolt. But from that moment onwards, rather than just create a recruitment company like all the others, but with 1,000 to the budget and no break, the industry average in our industry is 45% staff turnover each year. Ours is 8 to 10%. So it's really the retention piece that gets led. There's not one silver bullet, it's 100 different things you work.
Yeah, no, thank you for being so sort of open about that and the success stories that are from away and from your journey. Very, very inspiring. Nikki, similarly, you have built and scaled 2 law firms and now help organisations create ownership-driven teams. Really like that. So how can founders in the rooms instill those values where their teams are doubling, essentially tripling in size?
Going on what Sally says about how we attract talent and keep them. I've looked at a lot. How do we manifest that passion that founders, owners often have about their business? We can really hear when someone loves what they do, they're living and breathing mission and the values of the company. How to operationalize that? And one of the conclusions that I reached in my own journey as a younger lawyer, I was effectively selling law, and there's nothing drier. And why I was so invested without having equity or ownership of the actual business was because I was allowed to be an entrepreneurial world. Why when other younger lawyers were in the back room dropping contracts, because the firm, and now that they saw that required my makeup, and I was allowed to bring myself to work. So when we talk about building autonomous ownership cultures in teams, it is really about how can we rethink or look at the design and look at how the workforce moves around that. So looking at the alignment between people's skills, their talents, their purpose, and the job that they are actually doing. That's how you migrate people, and that's how you engage them. And in the world that we're going into, we need to look at how people can transfer their different skills across the organization so that they will grow with the company and be more imaginative with the way our workforce is. So look at what people can bring to the mold. That's how you really engage people.
Yeah, hope that. And again, thank you for that practical advice. And it's come down to what I always say, I'm not fake radio station, what's in it for me, and understanding people, not a lot of number, they're a person that benefits them, that thrive in that environment that you're curating. Roy, thanks for that very patiently and very powerful intro and very impressive background. What can founders learn from this model about flexible and scalable hiring?
Yeah, it's a really good question, and totally echo what these guys are saying. I'm holding the second microphone because it just knocked this off my bell, so I'm moving that. I'll just say, before I talk about function talent, I think when it comes to building internal structures, you guys are 100% right. It's for me, I see this when we think about managing and think about scalable teams, it's like a three-legged stool. In that, you need all three legs for it to work, and it's remuneration, it's opportunity, and it's genuine relationship. And I think that's one of the things that gets so often overlooked when we talk about scaling culture and scaling teams is you have to genuinely care citizen. It's not enough to just pay them out. We pay to the well, we give our non-empathy, but unless you have managers genuine about the relationships they build with their individuals. In terms of fractional, I think there have been significant societal, demographic, and technological shifts that have happened over the last few years. COVID obviously changed everything in terms of normal commute, geographic sensitivity doesn't matter anymore, it doesn't matter where we are, more focused on output, more focused on speed, the less focused on the types of things that used to hold back traditional recruitment. You then have the big technological shifts. All these collaborative tools that are coming through online, Motion, Slack, Zoom, everything can be done in the virtual world. It doesn't need physical space. And then you can see you have this massive demographic shift as well. Individuals who are fed up of full-time work you do call for a career, they don't want to do it anymore. They miss their kids growing up. They don't want to miss their grandkids growing up. They don't want to give all of their time to be into the face this corporate. They want to do work that's meaningful for them, near top of them, purposeful for them, and give them that flexibility. So all those three trends have really coalesced into fractional working, the way that we see it has been totally instructive. We launched in January 2022. We're now there with 7,000 customers, 200 employees globally, just because in Barn is this fractional movement. People really want to change the way they're working. And for a founder, it's this ongoing challenge of how do I hire full-time? When you're hiring full-time, you're trying to solve so much. When you're hiring fractionally, you're hiring more about output, hiring more about working together on a specific tangible outcome, rather than just from face or outcome challenges come with all employment.
2 points marry very, very well, and it's specific is terrific. I said it on earlier panel today. And understand that people come in, they're more motivated, delivering on that particular project, and you haven't all the headaches that passed, and actually giving people what they want. Well, right, which is important. So we talked about the first stage then, of sort of founded some employers, some of the early desks, and now we're going to move on to hiring the very first of long-term fit. And obviously, Simon, you've had a tremendous success story. So how do you ensure that the people in the new hire that are the right fit for your culture?
For us, it's our success came when we stopped hiring based on a CV. Now, for our clients, if you're looking for full-flight architects, there has to be some background, there has to be some qualifications. With us, it's slightly different. We hire the person and we teach ease a bit, cheap the job. So, some of our competitors are still hiring 27-year-olds employee based on their last 2 years experience. I'm almost completely forgotten the first 25 years of their life. Resilience, the ability to listen, communication skills, soft skills that seem to lack these days, they're set in nurture. Yeah, okay, they're set to quarantine. So if you're not interested in this bit and you're just interested in this bit, tend to get it all. And so that was a learning curve for us. And it's funny that the third part of our culture is cult. So we've created a bit of a cult environment. There's not just, we need someone in January, get start next, let's advertise in October, 3 interviews, pick Wally. Actually, it's a 24/7 open off, and it's almost like a sales funnel.
Yeah.
And so we always had some opportunity money size, or we could get that if one of these people came to the sales stuff and excellent culture, they're hungry, they're driven, that's what we look for, then you bring me. If you're not hired that sitting point and they don't hit those markers, it's just a no. And by the way, the people that you deploy at second stage interview have to have such an amazing experience for your recruiting experience. They become one of the big standards. Because you're saying no to 99% people, they have to then go to your local community, your local town and go, I almost know you. or almost, maybe next year.
And not the sort of always open to opportunity, always thinking about things. And I always say very openly, it could be a mentor, it could be a leader, it could be anybody, it could be somebody here today. That's why it was come in the room, network, be out there, connect, etc. Okay, Nick, coming back to you, in building your companies and advising leadership teams across Europe, when founders are hiring fast, how do you keep culture strong enough to make people stay, but also growth?
It's really difficult. First of all, Simon said as well, when you're starting out, you're growing fast, and you're trying to up gaps, things need to be done. Right, so you need to fire that things be done. But there is a bad day or someone who's not really aligned to the end values of the company. So they're not quite right for the organization if you do it because you just thought you need to. I think, there are roles that are more technical than others, but beyond that, I firmly think, number one, teachability. I don't want know-it-alls, whatever the age, whatever the background. I'm looking at the quality of their questions. I'm looking at how much they need to grow with the organization and beyond, and adaptability. Because we've talked about it. Company, in order to survive, the workforce needs to adapt with it. So their roles will need to live and breathe, and we need sort of the pirates for the job that might happen going forward, how company might grow. And in terms of how we keep people, for me, I take engagement over retention any kind. The time that people are there, engage them, make them invigorating, part of the organization. One of the best ways to do that is to engage people in the mission of the company and every task they do, and to have a paddle back versus watch your back culture, because that's where people feel that they can stretch in whatever they're doing, and that's when the innovation happens. That's when great work happens. People can move around. So, we've got all organizations have internal labor market. That doesn't mean we have to hang on to people for the rest of eternity, but it means tap this into the potential from people that you've got, and also be more imaginative because it's required.
Yeah, I think if you build that culture, create those safe places, like I said, the creativity and the innovation comes from it is infinite. And I remember very early on, someone said to me, well, I'll be thinking about firing, but it can cause you so many troubles, so many problems, a lot of money, a lot of headaches. So sometimes waiting it out is best. Right, coming back to you, how do you decide when it's time to invest in senior hires versus keeping a very lean team?
So I think the reality of senior hire is they need resource, they need context, they need infrastructure to be effective. Because the more senior someone is, the more they become a manager than they are an execution. And when you're at the early stage, you need execution. Stay away from senior hires.
Whatever you do, stay away from it, just come out of the soul. So, I offended anyone in the room. There's someone told me once,
if you're going to hire someone who's come from consultancy, make sure there's at least 2 companies between you and them. So just a good lessons we learn, if we all learn. So when you're at the early stage, senior hires aren't necessarily going to give you what you need to be. You need to be the leader, you need to be a senior hire. You need a team of very aligned, purpose-driven generalists to help you get everything done. Don't expect answers, expect group course, expect inspiration, determination. It's like people who really want to be aligned on the mission. But when it comes to the senior hires, they need to have a resource. They need to have the context of the playbook that you've built with those generalists.
stage ones, you guys know about senior hires. Don't get trapped by big name, big background. They're going to come in and be able to do on a full-time basis what you need them to do. This is where Fracture is your friend. Augment those really, really powerful, really, really driven
generalists with talent that you wouldn't want to bring them in a full-time. And especially for you guys who are small stage, focus more on automation, focus more on reverse engineering the weaknesses and AI, other tools to really cover those weak spots.
and those first hires could be journalists and augment senior fractionals. I love sound lights, and fractional is your friend landed really well with that. So essentially, so that's the second part of the panel. So just to recap, we've gone from founder to employer, some of the early lessons that the panelists shared. Then we've just gone through firing for growth versus long-term fit. Now we're going to talk about retention, diversity, and future-proofing teams. If you have learned some things, make sure you write them down now. Hope you will have time for questions at the end, so please get your questions ready. So coming back to you, Simon, how do you measure and maintain engagement and performance in your teams?
So we've actually got an app that all the VE team have got access to, and you kind of, it's one of these sort of D shows you see barrels on LinkedIn, we listen to our team was we listen to King back. Do they? I'm not too sure. It's a lot of stakes on the team. That we asked last year 30,000 questions of our team. So the 110 people get one question a day, and it's on the app. They can save up to Friday and after 5 in a row. And each team and each branding, you get a heat mapping measure. UK, 90% of the workforce are either disengaged or actively disengaged. So that is a real problem, and this product equity is a real issue. That is money literally leaking out the door. So we asked feedback, we asked live data, and one of the other ways we do it, especially if that's 10 or less size, because what we do and what we certainly did at the early stages, we work out what the individual motivators of each team member is. We operate something called motivation maps, where each person takes, it's a sort of heat map thing. Again, we do that every 6 months as people grow and their lives change. We work out what actually motivates them. Everyone thinks, if you're a recruiter, you're motivated by financial stuff, flashy stuff, which is actually very, very rare. So we understand what each person, we build a profile of each person, which means that we can motivate them. We ask them to, we sit with them and especially the other ones, we sit with them and we map out a vision for their next 3 to 5 years of their life. So many founders expect their team to know what the goals of the company are, the hiring figures, the revenue for next year, and they don't do the first thing about their employee. What's your goal? Well, I'm getting married this year. Well, so we see it as a two-way value exchange. So we work out exactly what each person wants to do in the next 3 to 5 years. They see working at our businesses as a way to achieve their life's ambitions outside of work. So with all these different things, that's how you get long-term engagement. And the final thing, and this is what you can do even if there's 1 or 2 of you, is you keep sending the future. I read somewhere that CEO should be called CRO, the Chief Repetitive Officer. You should repeat it at least once a day, have it on the walls, wherever you like. Some people read things, some people listen to things, whatever. You have to keep repeating what their role is going to be here.
I love all of those points, and there's lots of synergies across there. Victor Broyerson put genuinely care, and what you're doing there, you're showing that you genuinely care for people, and it's the whole we is greater than me. Take people along the journey and have that caring. They will, compound their entirety, get exponential results. And to your point earlier, Nick, as well about mission-focused companies, if people understand what they're doing and how that's delivering on the mission, they get that intrinsic value. Sometimes outweighs, the sort of paycheck at the end of it, that they feel genuinely contributing to that mission because they believe in it. But like you say, whatever period of time it may be, it may be for a year, 2 years, and maybe you want to do something else. That's fine. So yeah, really loving the synergy across your panel here. So coming back to you then, of the years as a very successful discrimination lawyer and scaling your own firms, what do you see as the most powerful levers for retention, diversity and future-proofing teams today?
Looking at diversity I think for me, it is one of the biggest levers for retention. For a number of years, I was fighting discrimination cases. So that's why do we get the banks needs to be with the horrific acts of single discrimination, harassment. But what I found almost more depressing, whether I was working for an organisation or an individual, was that slow decay can happen in an organisation when there's no diversity, little, and the behaviour slowly by it become acceptable. Sometimes it culminates in pain, sometimes it doesn't. And in many ways that was worse for me. And now, I go to organisations and we talk about the operationalise building strong autonomous team. Part of that conversation is diversity. How do we build that, operationalise that in a way that works? And how do we really build that social intelligence? Because we need to look at not firing for sameness and not celebrating that as much as celebrating people's differences. That's the true meaning of diversity. I've come to hate the term like-minded. I want to look at what is that person going to add to the organization, what they're going to bring to the team, and what skills can be exchanged, what diversity is sought and experienced and complement what's going on in the organization. You know, there's so many things are happening, so much that's changing, that we need people's different thoughts, different experiences. That's what creates a diversity of idea, disruption of the status quo, which is needed more than ever. And that's what creates where we were. So the number one lever for retention is a diversity of thought, experience, and common sense dictates that you're more likely to have that when you've got diversity of gender, orientation, race, all of those characteristics. So beyond my kind of legal knowledge, I just defer to common sense, say that diversity means and can coexist with unity, being aligned with the end mission of the company.
I love that. The only constant in business is change, and when organisations continue to talk about cultural fit, think about cultural add. And if you think about it from that perspective, if we're going to bring something fresh, bring something new, that continue to move forward as an organisation, it's going to keep it exciting, fast-paced. And with that, we're coming to you, because you've worked to make startup growth more accessible and diverse over the years. So how can founders practically widen their talent beyond traditional networks?
I think one of the interesting challenges of hiring when you're in startup mode is the requirements are constantly changing, right? You know, the thing that you think you need day one, I guarantee you do not need day 365. So it's tough. It's really tough to get that right. And there are certain things that we want to solve to try and make that challenge easier. For example, hiring for cultures or values, absolutely diversity at all, 100%. You don't actually want diversity of values. You know, you want to make sure that we're all aligned in what good is, you know, the right type of culture that you want to have, supports it, empowering, all of those good things. So for us, we found that one of the reasons we've had so many organizations now hiring fractionally connected is you can sort of try it fully, but when you have that ever-evolving set of requirements, that ever-evolving set of outcomes they're looking at, hiring a full founder doesn't necessarily make sense. Especially when you're looking for those people who are going to be guiding rather than executing. When it's about expanding out your pool, expanding out the network, think creatively about it. You're not going to be able to afford the right type of senior hires early on. You might be able to get through for a day, a couple of days, a day here, a day there. Really help. We had an amazing story for earlier this week. Founder Everett, she's launching her own cosmetic brand. And she's now brought on, fractionally, as an advisor for a day a month, the head of product for this development company. You know, you just wouldn't get access to that, trying to solve that full time or being happy. So now with automation, there it is. The doing should be done in a really smart way. Hiring full time should really be your last motion. Now, when you are seeing that you're having to forego high value tasks to do things which could be done by someone else, that's when you should hire. And again, generalists, that's brute force, that people who want to be involved, love the passion, love the project, love the mission. But when it comes to spreading their talent more widely, personal anyway. No, not that I have a vested interest in.
Not at all, but it's working smart, isn't it? Even what you say there. It makes me laugh actually when people say to me, I don't have time to come to events, I'm too busy. And I take it the other way. If you think of the combined years of experience, knowledge, connections in this room now, that one person who is specialising in that one thing, you ask that right questions in the kid's point, you probably shortcutted that answer. Half a day out of the office, it's taking you 3 to 6 months or a year to get right. And so that's one thing about getting out there, networking these people and asking the right questions. And with that, I'm going to go to the audience. If you have got time, hopefully I've been able to 4 quick fire questions. So does anyone have a question from the panelists? If so, raise their hand and then come to you. Otherwise, I've got a quick question on ask all the panelists in a moment. Okay, yes sir, go for it.
So you spoke about, you spoke about motivating your staff, hiring the right staff, the right culture for the organization, caring for your staff. How do you, as a founder, you also have a boss? Well, the investors, they're pushing you to generate revenues, to be profitable. So how do you balance both, motivating the staff, paying attention to them, in a startup environment where, everything is urgent? You have to do several things at a time.
So how do you protect your people beneath you, but also keep people of value in terms of the investors happy? Well, first I would recommend coming to Who Supports the CEO. How did I'm doing? Anyone like to share their thoughts on my different?
Yeah, 100%. It's something I'm really passionate about, and as someone who's been a founder the last 12 years, challenge that I know all too well. And there's actually a really, really easy answer to that. And the answer is equity. Every single person you connected, even now 200 employees, is on our faculty steed, so that you can truly align those two things together. Because if you are working with teams, we're really a team. Now a team shares, a team with genuine upsized. It never sits right to me to go, come on guys, let's do it, long day, it's fine with anyone who's got a better thing than is run 100 miles, by the way, if you start working with a founder who is doing that on an equity side of things. Because that's where you can educate, you can upskill, you can bring your team on the journey with you to say, look, if this is what the investors care about, this is what we should care about. That we're in this together, it's a solving together, we're all in the same boat, and at the end of the day, we'll all share that. I think transparent, 100% transparent. Okay, through the good and the bad time. Because what we'll also see, because there will be bad times, is those who are there with you and want to fight, want to be there alongside you when in those difficult moments, those are the people you could really rely on, and those are your future needs.
And people have skin to get, they'll take more pride. Take pride, and they'll feel when things go wrong, and you'll be able to authentically share with one another how to get over this, because it all matters. There's a vested interest. So absolutely +1 to that. I think I'm being waved up that we're at time. So what I will say is, firstly, feel free to take a photo of the panelists here. I would share your learnings with LinkedIn, educate your audience, tag these speakers, use the hashtag Best of Entrepreneurs. The likelihood is they will repost that, you'll hijack that speaker's audience, and you get new people into your networks as well. It's all really good things to be doing. And just think you'd say thank you so much, Nikki, Roy, and P. So I'm had a good time today. I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. If you like the content here, why not check out our world-leading content and collaboration hub, the Legally Speaking Club, over on Discord. Go to our website, www.legallyspeakingpodcast.com, for the link to join our community there. Over and out.